Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. I hope you're having a great weekend, a great night. Thank you for spending it right here with us on the Paranormal Portal. And by us, I'm not just talking about me and my multiple personalities. I'm talking about me and my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard.
Hey.
There we are. The family's all here.
Hey.
Everybody is present and accounted for,
That's
I think.
True.
Don.
Yes, I do see them piling in.
Well, welcome everybody, all of you piling ins. It's great to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And just know that throughout the course of our journey tonight, if you've got something paranormal of your own you'd like to share, please call in. 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500 is the number to fun right here on the Paranormal Portal. And hope you take advantage of that. But thank you, everybody here. Thank you to Nikki for setting the stage for us to come in and hopefully have a brilliant show tonight. That's always the objective. Sometimes we even achieve it. The bar has been set.
Oh, boy.
So how's things for you, Don? Good?
Oh, man. Yeah, good. You know, it's just been last couple weeks have been crazy at work and that kind of thing. But that's the way work is. It's called work for a reason.
It's work. It's work because it's working. But speaking of working, that's what we're doing right here on the portal. Trying to work to keep you thoroughly enjoying yourselves throughout the duration of your visit here. And hopefully we'll manage that. Let's see what is first on the list, Don.
I don't know.
Well,
sorry, did you have something?
Well, I wanted to talk about this black hole.
Yeah, cool.
So I don't know if this is paranormal or not, and in fact, I haven't even read this article before right now, but it's something that I pulled up, and maybe some of you have heard of this already, but something. Well, I mean, we all know something strange is going on in the world. I mean, it's just everything is going weird, sideways, wonky, and nobody seems to know what's up or down or sideways or left and right. We just don't, we just have so much turmoil going on right now in so many ways. And this isn't about what side you're on or whatever, whatever side you're on, you pick it for whatever reasons you pick it. And that's, personal and individual. But there is also a lot of weirdness going on in the big picture, not just in our little microcosms, in our global cosms, but I'm talking about in the macrocosm. And what was going on is, and I'm going to read this article, and we're all going to learn together what the hell this means, but it's paranormal in that it's not a normal thing. And so I figured it fits, and we're going to look into this a little bit, but it's an article coming from Vice.com, and it says, our galaxy's black hole suddenly lit up, and nobody knows why. So I'm like, wow.
was that like blazed one? Is that what that means? It lit up? We're just gonna
that's all. Here. They torched one in the black hole there. I'm not sure, but it says in May, a supermassive black hole at the core of the Milky Way galaxy became 75 times brighter in just 2 hours.
Wow.
Now, this is a black hole. There shouldn't be any change, right? As I understand it, it's so strong, even light cannot escape.
Yeah, that is what they say.
How in the hell is it getting brighter then?
Well, maybe it's just less dark.
Maybe it's less light is escaping. Yeah, it's less dark. It's not
it's only 80% black, not 100% black.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess.
Oh, sorry, that would be 70. You said 75%, so it's only 25% black.
It became 75 times brighter. So it's 75 times brighter. Interesting. So this says the supermassive black hole that lives in the center of our galaxy has been mysteriously sparkling as of late.
Sparkling?
That's the word they use, sparkling.
Wow.
And nobody knows the reason. This dark behemoth known as the Sagittarius A is 4 million times massive as the sun. So that's 4 million. That's a lot of zeros. As massive as the sun. And though no light escapes its boundaries, astronomers can observe the hole's interactions with bright stars, dust clouds that surround it. On the night of May 13, 2019, UCLA astronomer Tuan Do and his colleagues were watching the Sagittarius A using the Keck telescope over on the summit of Mauna Kea in Hawaii. In a period of just 2 hours, they witnessed the black hole become 75 times brighter. Well, this is from 2019.
Oh.
So I don't know why it's coming up now, but I literally just had it on my newsfeed just a few days ago. It said in the near infrared band of light spectrum. So 75 times brighter in the near infrared band light of spectrum of light. That spring evening, the Milky Way's supermassive black hole reached much brighter flux levels in 2019 than ever measured at near-infrared wavelengths, according to a forthcoming study led by Doe and published on the ARXIV preprint server. And they do have a time lapse of it. I think we can, I don't know, maybe we can get away with showing this because it's like, this is not really, it's academic and it's what we're talking about. So I'm going to see about this, see if we can get it up on screen. But I think this is a Twitter link, so let's see if I can get this. Oh, it is actually. It's a GIF. Well, that's weird. I don't understand that. It's like it's just going out of focus. I'm going to put it up, and this is the GIF. It said, here's a time lapse of images over 2.5 hours from from the Keck Observatory and the supermassive black hole Sagittarius A. The black hole is always variable, but this was the brightest we've seen in the infrared so far. It was probably even brighter before we started observing that night. But, I don't know why it's all pixelated and stuff, but you do see, like, boom, it just comes to life. And that's where they started recording.
Well, it's not
so
exactly 4K from, 10 billion miles away.
I need HD.
I need it in super HD.
This is like Walkman resolution here, or what is it, Game Boy resolution, like the first ones. Yeah, yeah, it's like Sega Genesis.
Oh, jeez.
So I mean, it is. You can tell where they start a recording because that's when the bright flash is, and then it's just slowly fading. But now here's the thing that I'm not sure about, and I don't pretend to be a scientist of any measure, but isn't infrared like the lowest intensity of the wavelength? So in other words, it's not the most energetic part of the wavelength. Right. The ultraviolet is, as I understand it, that's the higher frequency light vibration than the infrared.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So, but this is near infrared is what they're saying. So it's not quite infrared, but it's definitely in the deep red spectrum. So I don't know. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is the recording that they did here. So let's continue. It says the brightness varies all the time, getting brighter and fainter on the time scale of minutes to hours. It basically flickers like a candle, Doe said in an email. And we think that something unusual might be happening this year because the black hole seems to vary in brightness more, reaching brighter levels than we've ever seen in the past. The peak flux, meaning the most luminous phase of the flare-up, soared to twice the maximum historical flux measurements, Doe's team said that in the study. In other words, in the 20 years since astronomers have monitored the Sagittarius A, the next brightest event has only been half as dazzling as this one.
Wow.
The unusual sparkle of the galactic core is likely caused by close encounters between Sagittarius A and the objects surrounding it, according to the team. The edge of the black hole, called an event horizon, is shaped by intense tidal forces that tear at anything that gets close. Right. Once a black hole starts devouring nearby objects like stars or gas clouds in falling materials heat up at the event horizons, sparking light shows that can be picked up by telescopes. Doe and his colleagues speculate the star called S0-2, which was about 15 times as massive as the sun, may have been the object that juiced Sagittarius A.
Wow.
So in other words, I think we think of black holes as like these. We think of them as like these dinner plates
Right.
with a black hole in it, but I think they're probably actually spherical, right?
Yeah,
So
because that's a three-dimensional
right,
circle. Yeah.
right. So I think maybe what happened is it sucked in that star, and the matter of it, just spilled over that event horizon in that spherical shape, and that's my real layman understanding
Right.
here is what I'm thinking.
Well, the gravity in a black hole is supposed to be so great that it rips things apart.
Sure.
So, and it was talking about sparkling. So,
Yeah.
what if it sucked in this? What was the S
S02.
0-2?
Yeah.
So, what if it sucked it in? And as it was breaking it apart, it's
Coating the.
like magnesium. When you light magnesium, it sparks, right? It's a sparkler. That's what sparklers are made out of.
Sure.
So as it pulled it apart, it created the friction that burned the particles of the planet as it got sucked into the event horizon. So
Yes.
it got pulled apart and then lit up on flame and sparkled like a sparkler.
Right, and it
then
was a sun, and
Oh, it was a
so
sun. Wow.
yeah, it was about 15 times as massive as our sun. So it must have been tearing it apart, and just all of that debris.
Yeah.
It was as it's
Yes.
tearing at the
Yeah,
event
you're
horizon.
right.
It's just coating that whole
Right.
thing and creating that light. Because allegedly, whatever's inside of the event horizon, we would never be able to observe because it gets sucked into whatever they get sucked into.
Oh boy.
That we just don't know. So it goes on to say another possible culprit is a dust cloud known as G2, which passed about 36 light hours from Sagittarius A in 2014. Scientists predicted that G2 would be torn apart by the hole, but the results were ultimately described as disappointing and boring for astronomers. It's like,
Wow.
man, we got popcorn and everything.
Yeah, that was anticlimactic.
It's just like gone. Okay.
Well, that sucked.
It's like somebody just flicked off a light switch. Well, that was boring.
I'll never watch another Marvel movie
We
again.
even made T-shirts, damn it. The initial letdown may have been premature, though, because we might be seeing the slow burn, delayed reaction to the gas cloud's approach, the team said. Many astronomers are observing Sagittarius A this summer. Doe noted, I'm hoping we can get as much data as we can this year before the region of sky with Sagittarius A gets behind the sun, and we won't be able to observe it again until next year. Maybe the black hole is waking up. There's a lot we don't know about this point, so we need more data to understand it, and what we're seeing is a big change in what's feeding the black hole, or this is a brief event, he said. Well, there you go. That's a little bit of news from the center of our galaxy, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have thought the Paranormal Portal would bring you galactic news
About a big giant black portal.
a big giant black portal. Yeah, exactly. That's very strange, though. I don't know. I think they're absolutely fascinating. Black holes are.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of the space and stuff is just full of. I mean, it's the Star Trek, right? And all of us,
Right,
we're
yeah.
on a journey. We want to explore that, and by knowing that, maybe we'll know more about what the hell's going on here. But I'm not holding my breath for that one.
Oh God, no. That'll take a
I'm
while.
just saying that's a loaded book for sure. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of astronomical news here on the portal. I think it's interesting. I really do.
I agree. I absolutely agree. It is fascinating, because especially when you get Neil deGrasse Tyson
Yeah.
talking about it, he's like being ripped apart by naked singularity. I can't think of a better way to go. I'm like, did he really say that? I'm like, yeah, he did.
Wow.
You're like, I'd like to be torn apart in naked singularity.
He said that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little bizarre.
Well,
That's a little creepy.
I wonder how much of it you would remember, or as you're being sucked in. No.
I don't think you'd probably have a moment to think about anything. It's like you're just sucked apart to subatomic goo. I don't know what that means, but Farm says the Galactic Paranormal Portal, it's version 2, right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it's version 2. Very cool.
We taught it everything it knows.
That's right. We're inspiring massive event horizons everywhere.
Yes.
Just saying. So, Here's an article I think is pretty cool. I wanted to cover this one too, and this one I think is kind of fun because it talks about we don't hear about this a lot, but the times that people were able to help a Sasquatch.
Oh,
We've heard the occasional story, especially with Glag,
right.
of Sasquatch helping people, and I think those are amazing. And including, like, there's this one story of a little boy getting lost
Right.
from his campsite and being escorted back by a female Squatch, holding his hand and leading him back, and then pushing him forward to go through the bushes to the campsite. So those are there are examples out there of Bigfoots extending themselves to help people. There's also the belief that they sometimes tear people apart and beat them into pudding. But
Blood pudding.
but there is also the rare event that they do go out of their way to help people, and I think those are really cool. But this one is, and it seems to me I was trying to read this one night and I ended up getting sidetracked, but I've still got it here, and so I'm going to bring it to you guys tonight. And it's an article from bigfootevidence.blogspot.com. And it says, Bigfoot injured by a forest fire was taken away and hidden by authorities. Not even Robert Lindsay can top this story. So I'm going to read this because this is just so it sounds epic.
Yes.
It says the story was circulating the internet way back in 2004, or maybe as far back as 1999, back when everybody was on a 56K dial-up modems. Remember those, Don? Yeah, exactly. You get that handshake. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's the coolest sound ever. I'm connected to the internet.
Yeah.
I seriously love that.
That
I
was
love
so
that
bad.
handshake.
That was like 90, what, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, something like that.
DARPA. Thank you, DARPA.
Yeah, DARPANET, ARPANET. Yep. Yeah, well, anyway, this is back at the early times of the internet when the story broke, apparently. And it says, and Facebook was just a regular book with directory listing of names and headshots. This story is so disturbing and so shocking that nobody believed it at the time. And it was Robert Lindsay, bear hunter, 2 Bigfoot shot, and DNA samples taken, story of the time. And like Robert's bear hunter story, the witness didn't have a name. The only thing known about the witness is that the person was a government employee, anonymous, of course.
Of course.
The author of the story was a science teacher named Tom Powell, Thom Powell, who believed it really happened and that the whole story was an elaborate cover-up. Powell said the anonymous government employee alerting the BFRO about a 7.5 feet long, tall burn victim with multiple burns on hands, feet, legs, and body, some second and third degree burns as well. Sadly, there was no DNA samples taken from the creature that appeared to have human-like arms and legs, face not like a man or ape, but mixed between. After reading about the story, several people from a Bigfoot forum made these comments. Who knows what's going on with the government? Certainly, it was highly unusual. It seems that the government hushes up the highly unusuals until such a time as they can figure out what's going on. That seems pretty plausible to me. It's what happens after that I don't understand. Maybe they just let people or let the incident and memory of it die away to keep people from stirring up things that just aren't worth the time and money and it would take to deal with it. I don't know. Let me look at the vault. I got to see. We got 7 minutes. Okay. So we still have got time. Now, where the hell was I? Too many tabs. Okay, here we go. And another comment was, this occurred to me today about forest fires and Bigfoot. Suppose a 6 foot plus or minus Bigfoot is caught in a forest fire and consumed by flame. I don't mean just ashes left, but just that the corpse is found charred, no hair, and crispy as an overdone hamburger on a grill that had a humongous flare-up.
Oh,
What remains looks like a human body. Shape is right. The size is right. The people who find it aren't just leaving it there. What do? How and to what extent do they go to identify this man? DNA? What if it turns up to be hominid? If there are physical anomalies that they would be written off as caused by disease, would the body be buried in a pauper's grave? Would the examiners even consider the possibility of an unknown species? I wonder about these things sometimes. I wonder if we can get the actual story though. I guess when I pulled this open, Oh, I guess this is it. Yeah. Okay, so the actual story is coming up next. I want to just see how long it is. It's quite lengthy. Maybe we should wait till the next segment to actually cover this.
I would say so.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm going to have to wait on the meat of this until after the break because of the amount of material that's left to cover. I guess we could start reading it and just wherever we get to, we get to. What do you think, Don?
Fire away, buddy.
All right. On August 6, 1999, Battle Mountain, Nevada exploded into several simultaneous range fires in what would be known as the Battle Mountain Complex Fire. A Bigfoot was hurt in the fire, according to an anonymous government employee who alerted the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, BFRO. The story was later dismissed, but acclaimed author and science teacher Tom Powell believed it really happened and that the whole story was an elaborate cover-up. And it says in a letter to BFR dated 7th of August, 1999, Battle Mountain, Nevada, the anonymous government employee states, I observed an animal wounded by the fire moving on all fours, not like a bear, more like an ape. Firefighters captured the animal, contacted local vet and medical doctor in the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife, Department of the Interior, and Bureau of Land Management on the scene. Animal tranquilized and moved to unknown location. Those at the scene told not to talk about what they had seen. Animal approximately 6.5 feet long or tall. Animal human-like arms and legs. Face not like man or ape, but mixed between. Genitalia male, uncircumcised rather, and human-like hair, covering most of the body except the chest. Chest has hair but sparse. Hands with sparse hair, palms bare, big with 5 digits, and human opposition of thumb and the 5th digit. Speech, multiple burns. Speech, attempted to communicate with caregivers once it realized that they were attempted to care for it. Multiple burns on hands, feet, legs, and body, some 2nd and 3rd degree burns. Using rule of 9s, approximately 45% of the body with burns. Doctors and vet working together, providing care, and moved it to an unknown location locally. This notice given in violation of orders given by BLM, DOI, and DF&W. Witnesses numbered in the area of 30 to 25.
Wow.
Word is out in the government agencies and among the firefighters. Since an MD was called out, many thought a firefighter was injured. Please note that I am a government employee of one of the listed agencies fighting brush fire in wilderness area of Nevada, large-scale fire, approximately 70,000 acres burned, and under orders not to disclose this information. I believe a cover-up is in the making. People need to know. The animal needs to be kept alive and studied and released in protected area. BFRO didn't know what to believe, and on top of that, they had been unable to verify that there had been a fire in the Battle Mountain area. Tom Powell, late Monday, August 9th, I was finally able to determine from the Forest Service that there was most certainly a large fire in this area of Nevada. The Battle Mountain Complex fire had extended to 180,000 acres by Monday and had 610 personnel fighting it at the time. Nothing else was heard from the witness, despite email attempts to reach him. Then some 10 days after the initial report, the witness contacted the BFRO investigator by phone. And here's parts of the report that the investigator prepared after speaking with the witness. So let me check the time. 2 minutes. Okay. I think I'm going to stop it there and we'll hit it again on the other side because this is good. And I think this is fascinating. I've never heard anything about this.
Right.
But we're going to get into what the investigator found after discussing this with the witness themselves. So they had found a Bigfoot, had all these burns. It was observably human/ape. It was seen on all fours, but had human-like hands with opposable thumbs. Hair covering the body except sparsely on the chest and sparsely on the hands, the back of the hands with bare palms. I mean, it's every normal explanation of Bigfoot I've ever heard.
Right.
The burns are tough. It said it tried to communicate once it realized they were trying to help.
And this is that's interesting. Now, this was in Arizona, is that right?
Nevada.
Yeah. Okay. Because, it brings back thoughts of, Mount St. Helens, back in
Oh,
like
some of
80
those
or
stories.
81. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was a supposedly a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch, helping uh, searchers or rescue workers
Oh,
find other Bigfoot who had been trapped or um, injured in
yeah.
in the explosion. So so it
Oh,
kind of brings that back to mind too. So
right. So that's very interesting. I've not heard of this one. You should see if you can find anything on that.
on what I was just talking
Yeah,
about.
what you were just talking
Yeah.
about, because I think that'd be great to discuss as well. These kind of events are extraordinarily rare, but they do come up, and when they do, could they be fabrications? Absolutely, absolutely they could. I don't know how anybody could, positively demonstrate that this is a true story, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, you got to ask yourself, is it plausible?
Hmm.
It is. I think it's plausible that that we have probably crossed paths. Now, I think the prevailing theory, of course, is that anything of these things is covered up and hush hushed and buried. That there's a regular effort to keep this quiet on the government level, but we'll get into it more after the break. So don't go away for more of the Paranormal Portal in just a moment.
the hell are you doing?
I don't even know, Don. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, goodness.
Welcome back, everybody. We're into the second half hour of our journey here tonight on the Paranormal Portal. We hope you're enjoying yourself so far. We are having a good time. I always having a good time. I'm feeling just lovely today. I can't complain. Don, how you feeling?
Ready for bed.
All right, enough of you, mister. That's enough out of you. It's enough lip. Enough of your lip.
Guy. I'm good. It's just been, like I mentioned earlier, it's been 2 weeks of just hell at work. So
I hear you. Well,
Yup.
you know what? You're in a safe space now, Don. It's a safe space for you.
Oh boy.
All right, we are talking about a Bigfoot story, ladies and gentlemen, a really cool one. This has to do with a Bigfoot that was allegedly discovered in a Nevada wildfire back in 1999 by the firefighters and all of the governmental groups that were involved as well. So they apparently moved this burned Bigfoot to some undisclosed location, and we're treating it. And so this is a follow-up that an investigator was able to get in contact with the original witness and ask them some questions. So we're going to read about this and see what this investigator found out. So it says, nothing else was heard from the witness despite email attempts to reach him. Then, some 10 days after the initial report, the witness contacted the BFRO investigator by phone. Here's parts of the reports that the investigator prepared after speaking with the witness. Sorry. I just go ahead and throw consonants out there because apparently I have a lot extra.
Because you can?
Because I just love to. Here it goes. Much to my surprise, tonight about 9 p.m., the reporting party of the Battle Mountain incident collared me. It says collared. C-A-L-L-E-R-D. Collared me.
Nice.
I talked with the gentleman for about 70 minutes. Although he is maintaining strict anonymity, I was able to put together a bit of a profile on the individual. This fellow, whom I will give the pseudonym Marty, is a male, full-time worker for a federal agency. Currently, he is involved in the joint firefighting efforts in Nevada. He has extensive EMT training and experience. He says that until this incident, he had seen it all in the firefighting area, and these days he stays mostly in the truck, manning the radio. He's friendly but not effusive. He is intelligent and likable, and fairly observant. But he isn't outlandishly articulate. He's just a matter-of-fact, low-key, seen-it-all kind of character. Said his regular duties may be in personnel, as he mentioned, that tomorrow he will be seeing the MD involved in this incident about other matters regarding firefighting crews. It was obvious during our conversation that he was very tired. Our talk ended with Marty saying he had to go get to bed to get some rest. Approximately 20 people were in the immediate vicinity of the incident. All were debriefed and informed in no uncertain terms that this incident was not to be discussed. There has not been a word about the incident at the BLM Fire HQ. He is very concerned about keeping his job. He says he would not look forward to taking a lie detector test. He created an email address exclusively for reporting this incident. He said, although I had originally encouraged him to call me this lengthy call was on him, so he could maintain absolute privacy. He's reporting the incident because he believes this information should get out. We agreed in any future communication to use the term patient to describe the Sasquatch, and I'll use it here. The incident happened in early afternoon. About 20 firefighters were directly involved. The injured patient apparently wandered within sight of the fire crew and was then surrounded. And it says, the patient seemed to know that he was captured because he soon just gave up. Marty mentioned this several times. He just gave up. The patient sat down on his buttocks, giving no evidence of a will to resist, like a dog gives up, and then you can do anything with him. He said the patient was laid out on the ground at first. His injuries were rather serious, including burns to the hands and feet, legs, and trunk, as well as much singed hair. It didn't take long for medical services to get to the scene. The attending medical team included a regular MD for the fire crews, a vet that Marty didn't recognize, and one or more paramedics. The vet was taken aback at working on this creature so human-like, and he is reported to have allowed the physician to do most of the work. At some point, Demerol and morphine were administered. The patient was placed on a spine board which was too small. He was then placed on a regular ambulance stretcher, and the sides were left down because part of the body hung over too far, and the feet hung off the end. He says a cut down was performed to obtain an intravenous line, and fluids were administered. During the treatment of his wounds and the efforts at life support, the patient communicated with moans, groans, and grumbling. Bowel sounds were heard by Marty, which was as close as 3 feet from the patient. No language-like vocalizations were heard. The patient responded to touch, specifically patting and stroking, to calm him. You're not going to find an ape or monkey responding the same way, he said in a quotes. 2 or 3 times, Marty mentioned that the patient was especially responsive to a young Native American woman who started ministering to him right from the very beginning. The patient was removed from the scene in the back of a utility truck, not in an ambulance. Marty said an ambulance would have alerted local townsfolk and possibly news crews, reporters, and such, thinking that a firefighter had been injured and no one would follow a nondescript van. The total time from the initial sighting to extraction was estimated at 3 hours. There was no urination, defecation, or vomit on the scene. The patient did not eat anything during that time. Serum and blood were leaking from the burned areas of the body. Mm-hmm. The area of the arm, which the cut down was performed, was shaved, and the hair probably fell to the ground. And there was significant blood from the cut down site and from the subsequent insertion of a venous line. And some of that blood dripped onto the ground. No one knows where the patient was taken. No video cameras were on the scene to film any aspect of the incident, and the fire commander was present. He had a camera, and he did record what he saw. The patient was described as being about 7 feet tall, give or take a few inches. Marty does not give a weight to estimate. Most of the body was covered in brownish hair, about 2 inches in length. No gray hairs are evidence, and there are no mats noted on the ground. Or on the coat. No mats were noted on the coat. Mm. And there's an order about the patient. It is not an especially obnoxious order. Marty calls it a natural order, but he had a hard time describing it. He said it is similar to a strong equine order. The head is not sloped. The forehead is heavy boned. The lips large but human-like. The ears human-like and tight to the head, with the earlobe attached, not dangling. The patient is strong-jawed. He could not remember the color of the eyes, but thought they might be brown. The head is about 2 times the size of a human head, wow. And there is hair on the face, but not on the palms or soles of the feet. There's great bulk to the patient, but there was no fat. He said his observations of the form of the body did not match with that film with that one thing running in the woods. I imagine he means the Patterson-Gimlin. Oh. And he called that film a probable hoax. Well, I don't know about that, but, that's his opinion. The hands are about 1.5 times a human hand, 5 fingers with opposable thumb. The fingernails are thicker and heavier, and one was chipped. The feet are large, 5 toes on each foot. No evidence of fractures, injuries, arthritis, or deformation. The sexual features are those of an uncircumcised male, matching the human anatomy. Marty made the comment several times that these are not monkey or ape features. He felt he was in the presence of a very human creature. He says, I've asked him to return to the scene and search for the hair from the shaved arm or even the blood that dripped on the ground, but he said he has access to the area but probably won't be able to return until after the fires are controlled. In response to Doug's plea that someone return to the site and search for blood or hair evidence, Marty reported back to him on the 26th of September, dozer has torn up the area, nothing left. Word is there is still life. Location unknown, believe within a couple 100 miles. Later, Marty. Tom Powell says Doug concluded that the dozer work seemed a bit convenient, and he was likely a cover story concocted by Marty to explain away his inability to recover any physical evidence. Doug strongly suspected that the whole matter was a hoax on this basis, and that is where the situation pretty much ended. So is it a real story or not? I don't know. But Tom Powell couldn't leave the case that easily, and further on continues, it's my feeling that this person, Marty, was not lying. And this set of described events really happen. There is simply too much precise detail and a complete absence of error or contradiction. The report was dismissed as a probable hoax and never posted for public inspection at the BFRO website, where it might have been seen by someone else who was present at the time and who might have contacted the BFRO to confirm or deny the account. 3 years after the event, Tom Powell dug up the old files on Battle Mountain matter and decided to try to send Marty an email message to see what happened. And less than 24 hours later, he was surprised to see this reply. Tom, I had almost forgotten about the event until now, have not spoken due to the classification that was put on it. The patient was taken to a university or some hospital. It was not disclosed. As for verification, well, other than my contact with you, I know no one other than those there on the scene. An affidavit was signed under Department of Interior and U.S. Forestry Service as 1, confidential under penalty of felony arrest and jail time, and 2, immediate loss of government service rank, loss of retirement, and benefits. Wow. Several meetings were held in reference to, quote, him, unquote. I do respect his rights of life and will always be a believer of their existence beyond any shadow of a doubt, as seen with my own eyes, smelled with my own nose, and heard with my own ears. His image is still visible as it was then. No monster, no animal, but lineage of native man. His trust in us to care of him and recognize him, that harm was not meant when contact was made, knowing that care would be given to him. I am sure that that Department of Interior knows where he may have been released. What more can I say? Specifics, features, anatomy? Well, stand in front of the mirror and think of man's evolution. Tom Powell said, I am left with 2 inescapable conclusions. First, Bigfoots do exist. And second, the government does not want us to know. The big question that remains in my mind is why? I can think of 6 possible reasons why secrecy might be imposed. Why the big secrets? Is it that the American government believes that the people of North Americans are so unstable that they might not deal with the knowledge that Sasquatch really exists? Number 1, government paternalism. It's felt by decision makers and government agencies that the public is somehow not ready to accept the stunning fact that Bigfoot-style creatures exist, and at least one species of primates is comfortably ensconced in the forests of North America. Perhaps the justification for this arrogant position is derived from the Christian paradigm that humans are the sole heirs to the planet. The acknowledgement of another species so close to our own, even superior in terms of some sensory capabilities, would destabilize the Christian paradigm that currently dominates Western religious thought. Number 2, keep mysteries classified. Perhaps the government entitles that we trust as protectors are really just baffled by this matter as anyone. As with the UFO phenomena, the knee-jerk reaction to government when confronted with the genuine and profound mystery is to classify the entire matter as a secret. This avoids the uncomfortable alternative of having to stand up and acknowledge that the people we pay to understand threats and protect us from them have no real idea what's going on in this particular realm. There is an axiom that may exist within government that boils down to, if we don't understand something, keep it a secret. That way no one will ever ask us to explain it. People feel more important when they have secrets to keep. Government agency personnel need to feel their job is important, and having important secrets that must be kept serves to validate their work.
Right.
Every branch of the government seems to have some kind of secret that it must be protected, and it is no surprise to me that the land management agencies want a secret also. Maybe someday they will even be called to Washington to brief the president or members of Congress on the big, important secret that the public is not prepared to know. What fun. Endangered species argument. If Bigfoots were officially acknowledged, it wouldn't be long before an injunction was issued and most timber removal from federal land was halted. It is held that environmentalists will immediately seize upon the idea, spotted owl style. They will try to find a sympathetic federal judge who would issue an injunction that stops all logging and mining on national forests and rangelands which qualify as Sasquatch habitat. While it's probably true that preservationists would try to get the Sasquatch declared as the ultimate endangered species, there's one big but not so obvious problem with this whole line of thinking. Sasquatches are in no way endangered. They may be rare, but they're not endangered. On their own, they keep their numbers down, though I suspect that most estimates of their numbers are way too low. It's possible that recent increase in deer populations have also precipitated the increase in Bigfoot populations. They do eat deer, and that's a good thing because there are not enough other natural predators to keep the deer herds in check.
Right.
Deer populations have exploded lately and we should hope that there are Sasquatches in the world, or we are soon to be absolutely overrun by deer. Bigfoots do not seem to require virgin old-growth forests, although they seem to require as a food source and a place where they can be left alone. Short of clearing all the forests away at once, I, for one, would strenuously argue that Bigfoots are in no way endangered by forest policy, and there is virtually nothing we could do to reduce their numbers, even if we set about to do so. The Wilderness Act of 1964 and subsequent amendments to it have ensured the fact that Sasquatch will always have a safe haven. National defense, as previously stated, we would only be able to understand why the public is being denied available information about Sasquatches when we know more about the creature and their capabilities. Since that information will not come from government sources, we're going to have to find out ourselves. We already have a good deal of information to suggest that all of the senses of these creatures are more acute than our own. Not only is their sight, hearing, and smell more acute than our own, but they quite possibly possess other sensory capabilities that we absolutely lack. They can project rancid smell, much like a skunk, and the smell is so overpowering as to nearly incapacitate a person.
Wow.
The capability alone suggests a tactical military value in better understanding the Sasquatch, and I'm told that the military is already researching tactical use of overpowering but non-toxic smells. Other possibilities relating to national defense and tactical military value may not be as far-fetched as they are first seem. Infrasound has already been discussed as a concept with tactical military value. The fact that Sasquatch possess infrasound capabilities seems likely. When it comes to mental capabilities that we humans do not have, it probably does not end there. Every researcher I know of who's been successful in putting themselves near a Sasquatch has mentioned a sixth sense that the creature seems to possess. I've tried to quantify this matter to the best of my ability, but to attempt to quantify such a speculative manner is futile at present. Genetic research. I'm not sure how much time has gone by. Yeah, we're almost like 6 minutes away from the next break.
Yep.
But this is really looks like the end of the.
It does, yeah.
So this has to do with genetic research. The final possibility centers on the fact that Sasquatches may be human ancestors of such a close lineage that their genetic makeup offers the most intriguing possibilities for genetic research and crossbreeding that have ever been considered. This is one that I talked about a while back.
Right.
Sasquatches may be the enduring descendants of the Homo erectus lineage and that is generally considered to be extinct. Neanderthal man, Homo neanderthalis, neanderthalensis by way of Homo heidelbergensis is another distinct possibility. If either or both of these human ancestors endures today in the manifestation we call Bigfoot, then the possibilities for interbreeding and other genetic experiments with human become either intriguing or alarming, depending on which side of the ethical question one stands. Tom Paul's final words are as bleak as are this bleak conclusion. How tragic yet predictable is it that the government denies the public access to knowledge of a living human relative, an anthropological bombshell, and one of the planet's most remarkable beings? And the footnote is, do you know anything about this? Yeah, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, a Sasquatch was rescued and treated, and then what? We don't know. Now, it seems the assumption is that it was somehow re-released. I wouldn't be so sure.
No, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't expect that at all, to be honest with you. I'm sure as soon as somebody on a different ladder of the government became aware of that, this the path for this being was probably pretty bleak.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, very, very, very wild though.
Well, and you've mentioned it before, what would happen to a Bigfoot if it was ever captured or found? And, you've mentioned it before that it'd be a guinea pig for finding out what's going, why we haven't found it. What's so different about it?
Right.
The whole, is it an ancient hominid? Is it Nephilim? Is it, all of those million questions. So, and that's probably exactly what happened to this one. Just disappeared in the annals of time.
Right. And Duke says they rescued several at Mount St. Helens eruption. That's interesting. Very interesting. I'm sure that they, after such an event as that, it wouldn't surprise me much. Man, that Mount St. Helens went up like a firecracker.
Yes, it did.
I mean, there was almost no warning. It was just boom.
Well, it was only a 5.1 earthquake that announced it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you think about that. I mean, all it needed was that one pressure release, one simple little quake.
Right.
And I think about that with all of the quakes that are have been going on around here, around the super volcano of Yellowstone.
Right.
That's kind of unnerving for sure.
Very alarming.
It's a bit alarming for sure, but this is all stuff that's to be considered. I don't know. We'll try to find. I think Don's found some more stories like this that we're going to get into.
Yeah, I found some specifically about Mount St. Helens. There's a book that Nick Redfern wrote.
Okay.
That encapsulates that. But I've got some of his quoted book on Mysterious Universe, so I can read that.
Oh, cool.
So we can certainly get into that.
Excellent. Yeah, we are about just a couple minutes away from our hour break already, if you can believe that.
No doubt.
My God, isn't it amazing how quickly this goes?
Well, and this is actually our second show today.
Well, it is. Yeah, we just recorded a podcast
a
episode.
new podcast that you have to get our podcast to hear.
Yeah, you're going to have to find that. If you check it out on Stitcher, we're out there. If you check it out on Pandora, Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Google Play, Chatbox, etc., 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 etc. There's, pretty much everywhere.
Right.
Now, pretty much everywhere. Before we didn't have Stitcher, but now we're there too. So there's no excuse for not finding the Paranormal Portal podcast, ladies and gentlemen. And you'll find a lovely brand new episode tomorrow afternoon released on our podcast. So I hope you guys will check it out. And I hope you'll share the news of it with everyone you know and love because, well, you always like to share good things, right? So that'll be out tomorrow. Let's see. What else is going on, Don? After the show tonight, what's going on?
Oh, isn't like Paisley Wild and the spaces between on afterwards?
I guess so. Paisley Wild, ladies and gentlemen, will be coming on after us here on TFR. iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. She'll be doing her show, The Spaces Between. And so if you want to check out some engaging conversation about the esoteric and more, you will like her show. She does a really wonderful job. She's a great friend of ours, and we love her dearly.
Yes, sir.
So we're doing our best to help raise awareness of the spaces between.
She told me what she was going to talk about tonight, but I conveniently can't recall it.
Conveniently. Inconveniently.
Yes.
I will ask you all, of course, we are broadcasting on TFR Live right now, and I would let you know that TFR is sponsored by iLife, which is a CBD oil. So if you go over to iLife.com and check it out, you will find what I believe to be the best CBD product out there. And you can do that by going to iLife.com and check it out. You won't be disappointed. It's an amazing, amazing product. And what can I say? I'm a fan. But we're going to go to our hour break, so don't go away, everybody. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes for more Paranormal Portal.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, flipping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
A nightmare from which they cannot wake. not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Ladies and gentlemen, hour number 2 is now upon us. We're into the second hour of our extravaganza tonight, so we're absolutely honored to see you all here enjoying the show. We hope you continue to enjoy the show. Are you enjoying the show, Don?
I'm enjoying the show, Brent. It is riveting tonight.
Good, good. I'm riveted too. Is that code for drunk? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not drunk. I haven't been drinking at all.
If it isn't, it should be now, buddy.
I'm so riveted.
Oh, it's just riveting. Wow.
I'm just hydrating, that's all, with water. Nothing too risque, but we are here. This is the Paranormal Portal. If you were looking for another show, you might be in the wrong place.
And if you are in the wrong place, stay and watch. Enjoy.
And if you're in the wrong place, maybe you're supposed to be here.
Ooh.
We love having you, so don't go anywhere. That's it. We're kind of talking about several things tonight. We've got a grab bag of paranormal fun going on, but we just covered a story of Sasquatch being rescued in Nevada after being caught in a forest fire,
Right.
experiencing severe burns, and then being shuttled away to an undisclosed location. Undisclosed location. That's kind of the footnote of many of these things, but there you go. You've found more, though.
Yeah, I've always been interested because I'm from Seattle area.
Uh-huh.
That's where I grew up on the peninsula over there, and like an hour and a half from Seattle, I think it was. And growing up on the Olympic Peninsula over on Washington, we always, oh yeah, Bigfoot will get you if you go up on Beacon Hill and blah 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 blah, right? So living over there in the 80s, specifically when Mount St. Helens blew up, I remember riding my bike through like 3 inches of ash. It was awesome.
Wow.
So, and then a few years later, you're like, did you hear the story? What story? Bigfoot, man. Bigfoot. They found Bigfoot on Mount St. Helens after whatever. Anyhow, I wasn't a real big believer back then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of, still kind of on the fence about it. But, looking at more and more, it seems like some of these stories are very believable, very viable stories.
Uh-huh.
And so you reading that story about the Nevada Bigfoot being found and whisked away to a secret location to be treated and subsequently supposedly released.
Allegedly released.
Allegedly.
Yeah. I'm betting that it never actually happened quite like that. But
It reminded me of these stories that I heard about Mount St. Helens and Bigfoot. So our friend, well, not our friend, we'd like him to be a friend of the show, Mr. Redfern, Nick Redfern, wrote this in, this is released in mysteriousuniverse.com, .org, The Legend of the Dead Bigfoots at Mount St. Helens. Now, Duke just mentioned this just before the break, too, that they found bodies after that blast. Mm-hmm. So on May 18th, 1980, a devastating natural disaster created an entirely new landscape across the specific portion of Washington State. We're talking about the eruption of Mount St. Helens, which killed more than 40 people, as well as thousands of wild animals. Within the domain of cryptid ape investigations, there are long-standing rumors that the calamitous event also took the lives of more than a few Bigfoot. something which allegedly elements of the United States government and military sought to keep under wraps. The government's U.S. Geological Survey says of the Mount St. Helens disaster, with no immediate precursors, a magnitude 5.1 earthquake occurred at 8:30 in the morning on the 18th of May, 1980. Was accompanied by a rapid series of events. At the same time as the earthquake, the volcano's north bulge and summit slid away as a huge landslide and the largest debris avalanche on Earth in recorded history. A small dark ash-rich eruption plume rose directly from the base of the debris avalanche scarp, and another from the summit crater rose about 200 meters. The debris avalanche swept around and up the ridges to the north, but most of it turned westward as far as 23 kilometers or 14 miles down the valley of the North Fork of Turtle River and formed a hummocky deposit. The avalanche volume is the total avalanche volume is 2.5 cubic kilometers, equivalent to 1 million Olympic-sized swimming pools.
That's a lot of swimming pools.
That's a lot of swimming pools. The landslide removed Mount St. Helens' northern flank, including parts of the Cryptodome, which had grown inside of the volcano, notes the USGS, adding that the Cryptodome was a very hot and highly pressurized body of magma.
Oh, wow.
Its removal resulted in the immediate depressurization of the volcano's magmatic system and triggered powerful eruptions that blasted laterally through the sliding debris and removed the upper 300 meters, nearly 1,000 feet of the cone.
Wow.
This lateral blast of hot material overtook the debris avalanche. It accelerated at least 480 kilometers per hour, which is 300 miles per hour.
Oh, my God.
Within a few minutes after the onset, an eruption cloud of blast tephra began to rise from the former summit crater. Within less than 15 minutes, it had reached a height of more than 24 kilometers or 80,000 feet. The lateral blast devastated the area nearly 30 kilometers or 19 miles west to east and more than 20 kilometers or 12.5 miles northward from the former summit. In an inner zone extending nearly 10 kilometers, which is 6 miles, from the summit, virtually no trees remained of what was once a dense forest. I'm going to skip ahead over that. And it says, so much for the official story now. It's time to take a look at the unofficial one. In many respects, it parallels the claims of the U.S. military retrievals of extraterrestrial bodies in the deserts near Roswell, New Mexico, in the summer of 1947. There are stories that the entire operation to recover possibly 5 or 6 Bigfoot from the pulverized remains of Mount St. Helens was coordinated by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The Corps of Engineers notes that its role is to deliver vital public and military engineering services, partnering in peace and war to strengthen our nation's security, energize the economy. Oh, that's interesting. Energize the economy. And reduce the risks from disaster. In other words, the Army Corps would indeed have been the ideal body to have played a central role in the recoveries. Several of the bodies, Bigfoot researchers have been told, were reportedly found on the 105-mile-long Cowlitz River in the Cascade Mountains. Military Chinook helicopters were said to have flown into the area and later exited with the corpses of several large, hairy, ape-like animals hanging from powerful nets strung beneath the helicopters.
Wow.
Their destination remains tantalizing and frustratingly unknown. In 2012, a story surfaced from a former National Guardsman who maintained that he was actually on site when at least some of those Bigfoot recoveries occurred, under cover of extensive secrecy. Incredibly, he claims that not all of the retrieved Bigfoot were dead. Some were burned and injured, and a few critically so. Particularly outrageous is the claim that the military had assistance from one or two unharmed Bigfoot that helped guide the military personnel to the sites where the injured hairy giants lay. See, I mentioned that. There was absolutely no doubt that the stories of the dead and injured Bigfoot of Mount St. Helens disaster in May of 1980 are fascinating. Admittedly, very problematic. However, is the glaring fact that one of the alleged retired or former military personnel that have divulged such fantastic stories has been willing to reveal their name and or proof of their employment by the military or the government. Unless or until such a thing does occur, the story will likely remain as hazy and controversial as it is sensational and potentially groundbreaking. So yeah, I've known about that story for quite a long time, and I've always kind of wanted to explore it a little bit more. And I've seen some things on YouTube about this National Guardsman who came forward afterwards, supposedly in 2012 or reportedly in 2012, because I remember hearing it a long time ago, and it's always fascinated me that it's like, oh, maybe there really are Bigfoot just right down the road, and we don't really know it.
Right.
But then again, I lived on the peninsula, like I said, an hour or two from Seattle, and I never really looked at it that way. But there's supposedly in the Olympic National Forest over there, there's supposed to be Bigfoot. They travel supposedly, to and from Canada. I mean, that's how close to Canada it is.
Yeah.
But the story of the Mount St. Helens Bigfoot have been particularly of interest. So there you go. There's some info on that. Now, I'm sorry. What?
Nope, that's pretty cool. I just, it's just so tragic that if this is indeed a fact,
Right.
it's so tragic to me that these beings have been harvested to a point. And I know harvested is a crappy word, but for
Right.
this, because, when you harvest a deer, you're going to use the deer. You're going to,
Right.
make use of it, and, hopefully it makes your life better. But in this case, it's hiding something, and that's such a, I don't know, it almost feels criminal to me. It's like, why not let people know? Why not let us know that the story is so much more interesting and that there's so much more depth to it
Right.
than the common scientific line of this is what's here, this is what's not here. And the utter refusal of the establishment to officially acknowledge such things. I mean, if they know it's there and they still are, on record denying that it's there, that to me is just wrong, and those people need to be unemployed, because they're not doing their job. They're not
Right.
they're not serving their office or their station by keeping things private and secret.
Right.
That to me is just so awful. So, just my 2 cents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, supposedly, let's see here. North Fork Survivors Shop. Okay, so after the eruption, Sasquatch disappeared from the scene, leading many of the locals fearing that the disaster had killed their favorite local monster. After all, the Pacific Northwest has always been a hotbed of Bigfoot sightings, so it's reasonable to think that the big hairy guy might have become a victim of the explosion. The North Fork Survivor Shop took it upon themselves to honor the ultimate demise of the creature by erecting a giant sculpture of the beast, considered to be one of the largest Bigfoot statues in the world, marking his grave. Today, the gigantic marker is hard to miss as you travel Spirit Lake Highway in Toutle, Washington. For years, the travelers have stopped by the strange monument to pay their respects to the big guy. Some even lay out flowers on his grave. While it might be easy to make a joke about the eruption, how the eruption doesn't seem to have made a noticeable dent in the Sasquatch population, consider this. Finding Bigfoot has been looking for the monster for a half dozen seasons now, and they still ain't found him. Better pay your respects just in case. So there supposedly is a Bigfoot. Actually, this is it's not really true, but they created this grave in that area, saying that this was. But there is an A-frame too. The massive eruption of the Mount St. Helens caused massive streams of mud and silt to come along, roaring through the forest at speeds of up to 70 miles an hour, destroying anything in their path. One of the unfortunate victims of the eruption was a brand new A-frame house. By the time the dust had settled, the owners returned to the home to find it filled with 200 tons of ash and mud, and half buried their homes. So they're saying that's where the shop is, and I read somewhere that there was a Bigfoot either found in that house or it was found near that house.
Oh.
So just bits of lore that are popping up. So all that's very, very interesting. There you go. I wish I wouldn't have to find all these stupid videos about it.
Yeah,
I'd
I know
like to
that's the
find
hard
some,
part. It's hard to find articles anymore because
Yeah.
everything's a YouTube link. And I love YouTube, obviously, because we're on YouTube and
There
all
you go.
that. But sometimes it's nice to have an article so you can dive into
Right.
pieces and parts and just kind of thumb through it and highlight parts and
Go back and reread instead of having 10 seconds, 10 seconds.
yeah,
10
you got to have
seconds.
timestamps now instead of
Yeah.
anything. And I think that it's kind of the wave of things. I guess nobody wants to read anymore.
Right.
Why read something when you can watch a video? I mean, my God.
Right.
Now I will say that more often than not, I do prefer a video just because I like to. I'm a visual learner.
Right.
So for me, videos are great, but it doesn't make for good material for a show.
Yeah.
So.
Unless you sit down and really watch it and then script, not script, but take notes
Yeah.
and talking points, then it's really kind of useless.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But I think that there's no question to me, these things are out there. I mean, these Bigfoot are out there. When getting back to the Bigfoot,
Right.
Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, Grass Man, skunk
big
apes,
guy.
buggers, whatever name you know them by. I mean,
Mr. Foot.
Mr. Foot, the Foot, Mr. Big Toe. I know they're out there. I really do. I don't have any doubt in my mind. I think the thing that continues to shock me so much is how incredibly widespread they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like these things are everywhere. They're everywhere. They're not just in the Pacific Northwest. They're not just in these little regions.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was the biggest eye opener about the whole phenomena. Is that again, I didn't know they were anywhere except the Pacific Northwest, because that's what Leonard Nimoy told me In Search of, and that was the prevailing information about it back in the day. But I think people have always known that these things were everywhere. It's just it never gained any traction until the internet.
Right.
I think it was the internet that really gave the exchange of information traction and the ability for people to take these regional things and put a name to them. Now, the term Bigfoot's been around since the 60s, right? Or the 50s? Was it Jerry Crew?
Yeah,
That kind
that
of,
sounds right,
the Jerry Crew article, whoever the reporter was that kind of coined the phrase Bigfoot. Because it's a big foot. But once there was a common term for it, then, people could go, well, that kind of sounds like Momo here in Missouri, or that sounds like the Grass Man up here in Ohio.
Right.
And the skunk ape in Florida. And suddenly it became this intertwined phenomena of these beings that are so incredibly adaptable that they can be in any place, any atmosphere on the face of the earth, any region, and they not only survive but they thrive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my God, there's sightings of these things in Mexico in the deserts,
Right.
in Arizona in the desert areas, all over. So while I'm sure they probably prefer forested areas, I don't think that they're afraid of traversing great distances, if they're establishing territory or whatever.
Well, traverse great distances to come prove it.
What do you mean?
Bigfoot. Come
Yeah.
travel great distances to prove your existence.
Oh,
You have a call on the line.
Yeah. Oh, we got a call in line. Well, let's get to this call and find out just what's going on
I think
here.
I know who it is.
Do you now? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I do. Area code 509, you're on the air.
It's our friend Pam.
Is it?
It is. Hi, guys.
Hi. That's right. It is.
I had come on to the show late, and I noticed you guys were talking about Mount St. Helens.
Yes.
And I had mentioned to some of the in the chat that I was talking about my experience with it, and they wanted me to call in. So here I am.
Well, there you go.
Well, please do. Tell us about it.
Yeah. And so I know you guys were talking about Bigfoot and everything everywhere, but I do know that Mount St. Helens was a very squatchy area because I've been up there before. Mm-hmm. But I was talking about the day that Mount St. Helens had blown, and I grew up in Spokane, and I remember the day very vividly when it had blown up. And I was telling the guys that I thought the world had ended. I basically did. I was 16 years old.
Wow.
And I do remember that Sunday morning, I went out with a boyfriend and another friend of ours, and we were out, and we heard on the news that the Mount St. Helens had blown. And so we decided to drive up to the top of Tower Mountain, and that's south of Spokane, south of Micah Peak. I think Cameron F. will probably know where that is. Right. But we were up there on the top of the mountain, and there's a very high overlooking place where all of our TV towers and everything are located for Spokane. Mm-hmm. And we watched that ash cloud. That ash cloud, there was nothing like it I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. It just come rolling in. And as it rolled in, everything started to go black. And you can see lights coming on where it started to roll in. And it just rolled and rolled. And when it got over us, it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was pitch black.
Right.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we decided to go down the mountain. They had to take me home, and there was ash falling everywhere. Mm-hmm. And by the time he got me home, which was only a couple of miles away, his car was just loaded with ash. Yep. And it was falling everywhere. So, so we watched it the rest of the night until the cloud kind of lightened up and had passed us. It looked like we were on the moon.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That is intense.
Yeah. Yeah, where were you, Don?
I was over in I was living in Ocean Shores at the time. Way over on the Pacific coast of Washington, and I was 10 years old, I think. I was almost 10. As a matter of fact, I just turned 9 actually. And I remember, like I said, and I remember it getting dark as it came by us, because that blew that cloud. It got so high up that it just blew it everywhere. And literally like 3 inches of ash, over in Ocean Shores, literally where I walked across the street around the hotel and jumped in the Pacific Ocean. Yeah.
Yeah. And, then, when you're that young, it's like, you don't understand it, Is this ever going to go away? Has this changed our world forever?
Right.
I remember our summers being cold for several years after that, because it took, I think we can still find ash piles out there here and there.
Oh, yeah.
And how long has it been now?
Well, actually...
Yeah, we can still find it.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I used to work for a company that made a video, and it was only like 2 or 3 years ago they did this video, and they actually ordered up like 3,000 tons of Mount St. Helens ash to use in the video, in the short movie that they made. So yeah, it was like you can find a lot of it still out there. Remember all the bumper crops we had after, a couple years after? We had like massive amounts of apples and potatoes and all those bumper crops. It was just incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. And the cleanup afterwards, I know a lot of the neighborhoods and communities we had to wear masks.
Right.
So everywhere we went, we had to organize neighborhoods and get big fire hoses out on the fire hydrants and just wash that stuff everybody was up on the roof washing with hoses, washing it off. Because
Right.
if you brushed it, it just went poof
Yeah.
in the air, you know.
Oh, sure.
And so everybody was taking massive hoses and water and washing off their houses and down their driveways, and it was plugging up roads and causing, it was it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Took
Yeah.
days or weeks.
Yeah.
to
And
clean up after them.
And another thing that a lot of people don't remember is also the cars. The cars had they were carbureted. Most of them were
filters, yeah.
carbureted, and the air filters were basically opened, so they would fill in that ring filter that sits on top of your carburetors. And it's break time.
Yes, it is. Pam, do you want to hold and we'll come back to you on the other side?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Last half hour ahead. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I'd participate with the bumper music just because that's what I love to do. I love me some music. So welcome to the show. We are in our last half hour, and right now we are joined by Pam, who is calling in. And we had to interrupt her rudely for the break, but we're bringing her back in right now. So welcome back, Pam.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I noticed that also, too, Don, you were talking about the cars. There were a lot of cars that burned up. I know that AJ mentioned in chat about the cars being on fire.
Right.
There were a lot of places closer to the mountain when it blew that was impacted by the heat, and they actually did.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, you can Google videos of damage from Mount St. Helens, and you can see just all those hillsides, the trees just pushed down and down into Spirit Lake, and then the cars that are overrun and burned. I mean, it's incredible the damage that does. Which makes me kind of nervous about Yellowstone. You know.
It does. We had an opportunity to travel to Mount St. Helens when my husband and I first got married, and that was in '88, so it wasn't too long after, and the devastation was incredible.
Right.
I mean, you would drive along and you would see these A-frame homes half buried up to the peaks.
Yep.
Wow.
In the ash flow.
Yep.
The Tuttle Valley was just completely blown away. Cars buried. There was just still remnants of that. We drove up to the top of the mountain, and they had a lookout. Mm-hmm. And like you said, those trees were blown flat over.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you saw for miles, were trees laying flat, all in the same direction.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
And yeah, and it was. And I got sick going up to the top of the mountain the whole time. I was sick with a headache, and I just couldn't focus. I couldn't do anything. So I was very happy to get off the mountain. And I don't know if it was because of the height.
Right.
I've been up on high places a lot. I've never been known to get height sickness, but I was really sick that day when we drove up to the top of the mountain. But a memory, I'll never forget it.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Now, did you ever hear the stories of the Mount St. Helens and the Bigfoot? Did you ever hear any of those stories?
Only based on what everybody else has heard, like on one of the old Leonard Nimoy shows.
Right.
That showed it. Yeah, where, and I can see that being a very sad, I mean, there's no way many of them could survive up there, the way the mountain was.
Right.
There was no way. Mm-hmm. And it saddens me to hear some of those reports. I would believe they would be true, I don't know.
Sure.
But
well, we
not
had
firsthand.
And it's interesting because we had a listener call in, or was it in an email? I think it might have been in an email from Spokane, and I think I don't remember exactly who it was, so I'm not going to I'm not going to try and remember. But they said that in Spokane area, I don't remember where they lived. I think it was out in the valley, heading up into like the Bigelow Gulch area or somewhere like that. And they were out there roaming around, and I don't remember if they had a direct encounter or a near encounter, you know what I mean? So it's not like they didn't see one, but they heard or something like that. And I can't remember who that was, and I can't really remember the story. But that was in Spokane. So Spokane Valley, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few things around here. I can't conjecture right now, but I know Cameron has had some experiences with them out in Spokane Valley. Like, I think, Cameron, aren't you out near Micah Peak or something like that? But I know they're out that way too.
Yeah, he said I think it was him, but he also said there used to be an Albertsons on the corner of Sprague and Pine Street. I think it was.
Yeah.
God, And so
Long time ago.
yeah, and that's where I used to shop. I used to live just up the road from there. But I think I think it was Cam that was telling us about something that happened near that area as well. So, and maybe it was. I can't remember.
Yeah. I'm always out where we live. We live way out west of Spokane, and we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always listening and looking, and I have not seen any signs of them out here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But doesn't mean they don't come through. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I was just so hoping to hear some stories from out this way, but I haven't found anybody with sightings out here yet.
Yeah, no doubt. So are you like northwest or southwest or
northwest of
Okay.
Spokane? So, like out west past Fairchild Air Force Base, and then north.
like closer to Davenport?
Like, yeah, we're not quite to Davenport.
Okay.
We're halfway mark, but north.
Uh-huh.
So like near Little Falls Dam,
All right.
Long Lake,
Yeah.
Long Lake Road,
Right.
out that way.
Right. You know, there's a really there's a UFO and alien reporting agency in Davenport called New Force. They're
Okay.
I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's been on Coast to Coast several times with George Norrie. And so, yeah, I just one of those points of information. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. That's awesome. I'll have to kind of look that up, because I'm always interested in finding reports from out here.
Yeah.
I know
yeah.
we've had issues. We've had some crop circles on the farmers out here up this way.
That's cool.
Some crop circles reported and things like that.
Yeah. Excellent.
There does seem to be a lot of UFO activity up in this area, and I'm from the Midwest. I'm a Minnesota guy, but I'm transplanted up here, and this is where I had my first encounter of watching a flying saucer with my own eyes. But it's crazy how many people I've bumped into also if the topic should come up that have either had experiences themselves or they know somebody that does. I mean, there's a lot going on up here for some reason. It's really crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess there was
And Bill. Yeah, and Bill that was on the portal last Saturday. He mentioned in a comment on Facebook of mine that he had seen Bigfoot tracks out our way in Tamarack Canyon, which is just west of us.
Oh, cool.
So he had found Bigfoot tracks out there a long time ago. So I know they're out here. I just can't seem to find any evidence of them.
Duke is saying that he's got somebody on his team from southeast suburbs of Spokane. So I guess that would be like, I can't think of it. Palouse area? Maybe the Palouse area?
Yeah, that would be out Palouse. Basically out where I lived growing up when the mountain blew.
Right.
Out that way. Yeah,
Right.
towards Browns Mountain, towards Tower Mountain,
Right.
out that way.
And he says that he's got somebody on his research team that had an encounter on their property out there. So there you go. Yeah.
Oh.
So maybe you need to go that
yeah.
way. Get off the Peony.
Kind of exciting,
Yeah, get off the Peony Prairie and go south.
Oh, yeah. Are you in the prairie area? Is that what it is mostly where you are, is prairie?
Me?
Yeah.
We're out in the farmlands. We're out in the west of Spokane. There's a lot of farmlands out here.
Right.
They grow a lot of canola and wheat
Oh, sure.
out this way.
Yeah, I suppose Sasquatch
Yeah.
would avoid all that.
Yeah, but
Nobody
we
likes
have-
canola.
but we have, I know, but we do have a wooded area.
Right.
That's where we are. We're in kind of the midst of a wooded area between all of the farmland. So, and there's a creek down below the bluff. We live up high on top of a bluff, and there's a creek down below.
Oh, nice.
We've got a lot of wildlife out here. I mean, we've had run-ins with cougar and bear and moose and
Wow.
Just
everything.
Just not Bigfoot.
So
Yet.
it's not Bigfoot yet.
Yet.
Except the other day, my husband was laughing at me.
Oh.
I came in, I had changed one of my hummingbird feeders, and it was squished.
Oh.
It was one of those hard plastic hummingbird feeders, and it was squished.
like
It
squished.
was the one hanging in the tree. Like it was all squished in, like somebody had taken a pop bottle, and you know how you can squish a pop bottle,
Oh,
and it crackles and it's really dense?
right.
It had done that in a couple of places on it. And I'm going, how in the heck did that happen?
Well,
Bigfoot.
And just looked at me like,
Yeah, Bigfoot.
Maybe
Sweet tooth.
what?
a little sugar water. Yeah, that might be the trick. Hang out,
He
hang
would
out.
have taken me down and drank all the sugar water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hang out some jugs of that and see what happens.
He was like, have a Coke on us.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
on.
sweet tooth. Here you go.
That's awesome.
Oh, well,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So,
Well, thank you, Pam, for again being part of the portal. Pam has the distinction. Her and Mike, her son, have the distinction of the only two people outside of our area who have met us.
Yeah. Yep. She came along.
Yeah.
She made the journey to Medellin Falls when we did the Bigfoot Town Hall up there. You can find that video here
Yeah.
on YouTube as well. But we did meet Pam and her son. How's Mike doing, by the way?
Yeah.
no, oh, he's doing good. He's doing really good. He's been working. He's a trucker, so nothing has stopped him from doing his job.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's doing great. We've been waiting to find some time to go squatching this summer.
Excellent.
And go on hikes and stuff. I want to go back up to Medellin Falls and check out that area, the falls and stuff. That was pretty exciting. We had a blast that day.
Yeah.
And meeting you guys.
Oh, it was great.
And like I tell everybody, it was just as nice to see you guys in person. You're just as wonderful in person as you are on the portal. So
Thank you, Pam.
you're welcome.
That's awesome.
It was awesome to meet you guys as well. Thank you so much. And please call in anytime you want. It's great to hear from you again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll see you guys. I'll catch you again sometime.
Oh,
So.
yeah.
Okay. We'll be waiting. See you, Pam.
Okay. Ron, here comes Pam.
She's a great person. It was a lot of fun to meet her
It
and Michael.
was, yeah.
That was really cool.
You know, and it's funny because she was the first person I ever actually saw with one of these on.
That's right. Yep. She
That's right.
had the portal gear. That's right.
2020 rockers.
The 2020 walkers are available on Teespring, ladies and gentlemen. You can go to the link if you're on YouTube. There's a link in the description of this video. Otherwise, you can go to teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal.
Yes.
And you'll find and there's a new design coming, Don.
Yeah, I still have it. I got to do a little adjustment.
Cool.
Yeah, I got to get that done. But
It's a new design. We're excited about it to unveil it on our Teespring site. So I think it's a winner.
yes,
I think it is.
it'll do pretty good.
I think it's lovely. So anyway, that'll be coming up as well. So check it out, the Teespring sites, Teespring gear site, if you would. That definitely helps us a bunch and helps to keep the portal opening. Mm-hmm. It's not cheap to open a portal, you know. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, you got to travel to a black hole.
Yeah.
And then hope it's something sucks it in so everybody notices you.
There's always sucking going on here, Don.
These guys suck. How can they even do this?
Yeah. Oh, we have a lot of fun.
Rick, Purple Hobbit asked, Don, what are your paranormal experiences, if any? And we'll just leave it at if any, because as far as I'm concerned, he's gonna go. You watch this movie.
He's had plenty. He
Now,
just is
here's
not
the thing.
acknowledging them.
Well,
as
here's the
paranormal.
thing, though. I will make an addendum.
Okay.
I've not until I met this guy have I had what I may call a paranormal event. Now, as a matter of fact, we were talking about earlier is January of 2018, the super blue blood moon. That was a Wednesday night. We were getting ready for a show, and it seemed to affect Brent pretty heavily.
Oh, so
And so and by extension, it affected me, and I have a regret that night that I broke something, and I'm really truly sorry, Brett. But it was an accident.
Of course.
However, so that was interesting. And then sitting right here in this seat, you had the Ghost app running, and you said, "Did you see that?" Because it said something.
it flared up like
It
there was
flared
a
up.
presence
Yeah, it was
over
a
by
bleep,
you.
bleep, and it's like,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden it was like this thing, like this cold chill just came through my right side here, and threw me right through here just like this, and apparently stopped right there
Yes.
on my left side, because apparently it didn't walk through him, it just walked through me. And at that same time, the ghost app went off. So, that leads me to gives me a little more empirical evidence, of, an EM field of some type that came through here that affected me. It's possible. Yeah, absolutely. And there have been a few other instances. I mean, when we first started the show, we had problems left and right with cutting out, and my microphone specifically.
Yes.
Until Brent started smudging on a regular basis, and saying, what, if you're here and you're good, you can stay, but stop screwing with the equipment. It's just, please stop screwing with Don. So those are the kinds of things. I think the most profound two are the one I talked about, the EM field moving this way, however that may be explained, or the super blue blood moon. So
How
those
about
are
the lights, Don?
Which lights?
The lights.
Oh, you mean the lights in the sky?
Yeah.
The satellites that make right-hand turns or 90-degree turns.
Don saw a satellite make a 90-degree turn.
Well, I don't know. Now I don't know, because it didn't move like I know how a satellite would move. So it's possible I may have seen something,
Yes.
up in the great yonder. But, for all intent and purposes, it was a light that moved in a way that doesn't make sense. So I'll give you that.
And that was right here too, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
was right outside the studio.
Again, I'm going to say it again. There's something going on up here as far as the whole extraterrestrial or anomalous aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
There's something up here. I'll just put it out there. There's something weird up here as far as that's concerned. Why? I don't know. I don't even have a theory. I don't even know what could be the purpose.
Well, and there's been something going around the internet the last couple weeks. Supposedly, like 6 or 8 lights in the sky down in South
Pocatello.
Idaho. Yeah, Pocatello. Yeah.
Yep.
And they would, one by one, they eventually faded away. And that was just recently, apparently, like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I saw it on a certain Australian's, web, Facebook. I'm like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I got to go halfway across the world to find out
What's going on in our backyard?
Hey,
Yeah.
this is in your backyard, dummy. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
And then he, Purple Hobbit Rick, asked for any cryptid experiences, and no, I don't believe I've ever had a cryptid experience.
Although we did check out that structure.
Now, there was an interesting story there about they were putting up like siding around a chicken coop, and they were using like baling twine, because in a lot of places out here you can walk around and find baling twine out, and because they bale hay. So they were using like old baling twine that they had collected, and they had run out, and there was one spot that needed to be done. And they said they went back in the house, was thinking about what they were going to use. They come back out, and somehow there was a length of baling twine like laced into this ripped polyfence, plastic polyfence, and it was kind of stitched up. And they're like, there's nobody out here to do this. It's just us.
Now, as I recall, the person said, I need to find
Right.
some kind of baling twine or something to fix this.
Right. Apparently,
but didn't have any.
Right. Apparently, they were standing out there looking at it and said, well, I need to find some baling twine or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they went in their house. They said that out loud, went into the house, and they came back out like 5 or 10 minutes later. Well, we'll say 10 or 15, to see that stitched up with an old piece of baling twine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting story.
It's a really cool story. And that's, again, was on the tail end of them. They had 30 chickens. They were down to 9.
Yeah.
These chickens were just
They
disappearing.
were just getting snatched, apparently.
There's no feather litter anywhere where, like, if a predator like a fox or anything had taken them down,
They'd blow
feathers.
Right.
I mean, because they kill them. They don't carry live things away. They kill them and then carry them away. So there was no feather litter anywhere to be found. Never any found ever. These 21 chickens just kind of evaporated for all intents and purposes.
Disappeared.
Yeah, and so they were gone. But there was that hole in their polyfence that looked like that would be a place something might reach in and grab a chicken or something.
Right.
So that is a possibility. But then it was mysteriously stitched up on its own. Now, that's not something we covered intensely on the show. That was kind of a footnote at best. But,
Right.
I think that of the events, that is equally as profound as finding that structure.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it speaks to possibility of something being there or staying in that structure
Yeah.
that we there. I don't know if are the pictures still on the Facebook of that structure.
No, but I got them here.
Well, but maybe you could post them up later or something.
Sure.
But having that, and now it said it was like 150 yards away from their backyard, where this chicken coop was the structure, and then as Brent mentioned, the chickens came up missing. They were stitching up this fence and said out loud. That's the profound part of it right there. Is they said out loud, "Well, I guess I need to find some more baling twine, whatever that is," and they go and come back and it's done. It's like, wow, okay, yeah.
Yep, some really weird stuff happening, ladies and gentlemen, right in our own backyard here. And again, I just want to put this out there as we're edging closer and closer to this. Of course, we're going to be going to Coloma. In Missouri, or in Montana, not Missouri.
In misery.
Don't go to Missouri. You're not going to find us. We'll be in Montana, and just outside of Missoula was the word I was thinking of. And it's a ghost town up there, and if you're interested in learning anything about it, you'll find the videos on our investigations playlist. There's some videos from Coloma when Dan Pruitt and myself went up there and met with Duke and a load of other investigators and friends. Including Kevin Lang and Caveman, of course, was up there as well. And Kat Jackson and Kakalaki were up there. And
Kakalaki.
And Michael, Duke's team, and Travis were up there as well. Just had a great time with them. But we're going to be going up again on the second weekend in July.
Mm-hmm.
So the second weekend in July, we are going there. And essentially, ladies and gentlemen, it's an open invitation.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody wants to make the journey, you're welcome to come and join us. But we're going to be staying up there over the weekend, and we're going to be investigating. There's going to be both Bigfoot investigating going on, as well as ghost investigating the ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
I know several people have hinted to the fact that they want to go.
Right.
But we're gonna kind of need to dial this in a little bit. So if you have if you intend to go, I do want to hear from you, just so we know.
Right.
We're not providing anything, so
Yeah, you're on your own. You're
If you're
just coming
going.
to visit us.
Now you can camp there, and you'll be camping on top of a mountain in a ghost town. So just be prepared. If you have the means, you can be in a hotel. But you're going to have to, be able to commute to and from. Of course, we can try to ride share as much as possible. But I would, if you're going to travel in, just be prepared for that eventuality. The roads up there to the ghost town are not bad. It's not like you're going through dried up mountain streams and stuff, but there are some roads around there that you might want to be conscious of.
Right.
That some of them are not more than a dried up stream. Really, the one by the hunter's cabin was incredibly bad.
Mm-hmm.
Truck would be preferable if you're going to make that journey. But people did drive up in cars and like minivans, and there was a lot of different vehicles up there. But I'm just saying, if you plan on driving around a bunch, you may want to make sure your vehicle is able to do it. So if you're interested in knowing more, contact either myself or Duke, our very own Duke Sullivan of World Bigfoot Radio, who is also a moderator in our chat, and get more information of him or from him about this journey. So if you're going to go, try to let me know, because we definitely want to get an idea of how many are coming.
Right.
But again, you're going to have to provide
Your
own tent or your own hotel reservations, your own vehicle. This is not where the portal's going to take care of you, but we're going to be there. So if you want to meet us and be a part of this, fantastic. Make the journey. There's no charge. We're not charging heads to come. It's, if you want to show up, fantastic. We'd love to meet you and have you as part of the experience as well. So putting that out there into the ethers, if it sounds like something you want to participate in, let us know. You can email us at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Chemtrail Mix.
Hey, Chemtrail Mix.
Awesome. Long time no see. Hope everything is going well. Absolutely, brother. Thank you. But again, that's in Missoula, Montana area, and that'll be the second weekend in July. So
Right.
mark your calendars, make sure.
10th, 11th, and 12th, I think. Duke
Duke
just said.
Yeah, Duke said 10th, 11th, and 12th. So make your reservations as necessary, but that's the plan. Don and I will be up there, and anyone else that wants to come, you're welcome to be there. The more the merrier. It's a it's a pretty spooky place. I just want to let you know that. Right on the front end, it's you are alone up there.
Ooh,
But
spooky.
yeah, I mean, Dan and I were all by ourselves. But that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around for Paisley Wild coming up next. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can.
Good night, everyone.
Woo!